I have a question to ask you in this editorial. It is clearly evident that Donald Trump is the President of the United States. Whether individuals agree with him or disagree with him, the bottom line is this: he did win the 2024 presidential election, hands down. Just because the Democrats don't necessarily agree with the outcome of the election, it doesn't mean that he's not a legitimately elected president. My question in this editorial is this: is the mainstream media coverage of President Trump fair or one sided? Is mainstream media deliberately trying to sabotage his presidency because they don't particularly like his version of politics and decisions that he has made? Are they being objective? Or are they being selective with how they cover him? Are they deliberately just showing what they have considered to be the negative parts of the presidency and overlooking the good parts and things that, because I'm quite sure he is doing many things behind the scenes that the public is not privy to. You have to realize a president does not govern a nation alone. That's why they have a staff, and that's why they have a support staff, and that's why they have a White House advisor and they have a chief of staff, because all these people combined together are one cohesive unit, or they should be. So, in an attempt to cover a president of the United States, especially with the world watching on the grandest stage of them all, is the mainstream media coverage of President Trump fair or one sided? Whether you like him or don't like him, whether you agree with him or disagree with him rather, whether you're a Democrat, an independent, a socialist, a Republican, a moderate Republican, a MAGA Republican, etc. You tell me what you think in the comments section. I really would like to know. Is the coverage one sided? Is the coverage fair? Are they making him look presidential, or are they deliberately trying to sabotage everything that you could possibly do to make America, quote unquote, great again? See, this is what people don't understand. There have been presidents in this nation, and I am a student of history, and I study very well, who have been some terrible presidents, and they've made some terrible decisions. Let me talk about President Lyndon Baines Johnson. He was an outright racist, bigoted segregationist who became president after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. He was the vice president. And it was not until it was politically advantageous to him that he started changing his positions on things, and especially behind the scenes. Let me put on my glasses to see some of the comments. And especially behind the scenes. Too many individuals don't necessarily study history. And because they don't study history, they don't know what history is. Break down the word. But I'm going to stick to the narrative here. I'd like to know from all of y'all, from the Democrats, from the Republicans, from the independents, from the socialists. I want to know from everybody, what do you think is going on here in America? America has to have a leader. It's only one president, and President Trump is the president of the United States. And let me tell you something, Democrats, you better listen. You better listen to this black man that's talking directly to y'all. If y'all don't get your act together, start unifying, you're going to continue to lose elections after elections after elections. Because your house is in disarray. Your house is not in order. You got a house of confusion happening and going on. And I'll close by saying this because I don't want to make this long. You're not going to get the president on your side by constantly insulting the man and putting the man down and berating him. That's not going to make him do what you think he should do. Public pressure does not necessarily bring results. Trying to make somebody do what you want them to do. You all know it doesn't even work in relationships. When couples nag each other and fight all the time, nothing gets done. This nation has got to get back on track. This nation has got to come together. This nation has got to unify, whether we agree or disagree. I grew up in a neighborhood. Let me tell you something about me. I grew up in a neighborhood. You had blacks, Italians, Germans, Jewish people. We all fought each other, cussed each other out, laid each other out. But when it came to the important issues, we all came together for the common good of the community. That's the bottom line. And I close by asking the question the way I began. Is the mainstream media coverage of President Trump fair or one-sided? This is not for likes. This is not for clicks. And this is not for baits. It's just a simple question. Never surrender. Never quit.